Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on June 15th, 2021 at approximately 12:14 p.m. PST. Well, yesterday, in case you hadn't noticed, was a bit scattered, which is why I actually never got to the video yesterday. My apologies, it does unfortunately happen. However, has the ship been working? The answer is yeah. From my standpoint, it really is. Okay, I'm getting things. Well, I've got things set up in a nice little plan. Just not one of the figures I'm working on. I'll be dealing with that today. Um, I've already mentioned I fidget a lot. Anyway, got tied up yesterday getting a list of chores sorted around for my son to give him a way to motivate. Because I'll tell you, I don't know about you, I've got a 16-year-old, and trying to motivate him from anything other than the video can be a challenge. But I did find if I give him a list of chores, and this is something you might find works, I've given him a list of chores that need to be done. Things that are simple, that need to be done in day-to-day life, because sooner or later I'm not going to be here. But he does need to know how to do laundry, which he told me today he was taking over. So great, he's going to do the laundry, take out the garbage, this sort of thing, which are things that need to be done on a regular basis. Okay, the trick to organizing your life is literally find things that you're not content with. As an individual, it's up to you, but sometimes you'll meet people that just don't have an idea where to start. Now, as a parent, that's where it comes in, where you go, here's a list of things to do to get them started, then get them filling in the bits and pieces themselves. Now, it's working for me. We'll see how long that lasts. But pick whatever it is that you're not content with and make absolutely certain you start doing something with it. Like I said, if we all turn around and change the things that we're not content with, all you'll be left with at the end of it all is a world where people are surrounded by things they're content with. So, I've got a list here that I've been working on. A number of things I still have to get done, and that's okay. As soon as I get this video done, I will be turning and doing a little bit more initial proofreading to get ahead, because we are on final proofreading for the Yldrbac Chronicles, for the sequel to The Birth of the Wolfpack. Now, we're making good headway. Okay, and the method that I'm using is actually very effective. I just finished talking to, just yesterday, swung a deal with Author House, a publishing company, to take my book and take it to the next level, to get it and start moving it out there. So I'll be dealing with that today. Okay. And, this is just one of those big goals. Now, for me, writing is one of my big goals. Between writing and getting the stuff moved out of the way that I'm not content with, it will change things for me. And the tools I offer here, like I said, are literally the same tools that I personally use. Now, if they'll work for me, we can safely say they'll probably work for you. I'm a bit of a dinosaur, so quite often, like in my case, yep, this is what I call my database. Okay, it's put in two files. Okay, I'm sure if you're around my age, like I've just turned 58, but a file like this used to be common. Most people nowadays work with computers. I find that doesn't work for me well. It gets too cluttered, gets too many things going in the wrong direction. So this solves that problem for me. It keeps it organized, at least somewhat. But it does boil down to, you put a list together and you start with only 3 things. Okay, but make them 15-minute to half-hour tasks. Now, if you're wondering where to start right where you're sitting. Because the one thing we all have in absolute common right now, no matter what walk of life you come from, no matter how you got to where you are, the one thing that we have in common is we are all starting from right where we are right this moment. Okay, now years ago, There was a movie called Beyond Thunderdome, starring Tina Turner. Okay, and quite frankly, I forget who the other actor was, but it doesn't really matter. There was a comment made in that movie that said, "Remember, wherever you go, there you are." Okay, and the reality is, it doesn't matter how you got to where you are. It doesn't matter where you think you're heading for or where you're planning on heading for. You are right now, right where you are. This is the only time you can make a decision. It's the only time that you can affect the world around you. So it really does boil down to making certain that you affect the world in the way you desire it to be affected, preferably in a positive fashion. 3 karmic laws. Be true to yourself, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you, and energy out, energy in. By following those 3 karmic laws, and by altering the things you're not content with in your own life, you will find that you're more aptly equipped to deal with the stresses of the outside world, to cope with other people's idiosyncrasies, and to get your own life moving in the right order. Complications breathing, would seem. So I will have to look into that. I'm not dying anytime soon. I can't afford it. Okay, besides, my funeral isn't paid for yet. And I figure if I don't pay for my funeral, then I don't have to die. Well, that's probably not true, but it's worth a shot. But I am getting things organized from that end. And the one thing that I feel I have to stress. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide. And to me, what this means is I'll point you in the direction that seems to be in the best interest of everybody. Tell you how to get there, but it's up to you to do the effort, to put the effort in. It's up to you to make things change. I can't do it for you. There is not a person on the planet that can change your life for you. Only you. Well, that's not 100% certain, correct. I mean, let's face it. If somebody's driving along and has a problem with their car and runs through your front door, well, they just changed your life. And you didn't have any real functional control over that, because I'll tell you, even if you knew it was coming, you're not moving the door anytime soon. But on the whole, if you desire your life to change, you're the one that's going to have to do it. Not me, not the elite, not the religious leaders, not the politicians, not your parents, not your siblings, not your peers. You and you alone are going to have to put the effort in. You can absolutely get guidance and get help from others. But it's up to you to let people know that you need assistance. Okay, now I have talked to some people, they go, I don't like my life the way it is, but I want it to change in this specific fashion. They're relying on other people to change it for them. Bad idea across the board. Okay, when you desire your life to change, it is absolutely imperative that you take control of it and you initiate things. If you desire to reconcile with somebody, do not wait for them to reach out and talk to you. Reach out, put out the olive leaf and the olive branch, as the saying goes, first. Okay, in this way, you are in dominant control of your own life. Okay, which ultimately that's what we're aiming for. People on the whole, no matter what walk of life, frankly, from what I've seen, desire to be in dominant control of their own life. They desire to be treated decently. They desire to be, they desire to have a roof over their head, food in their stomach, okay? And, if you're one of these people that desires to be hungry, living on the street, cold all the time, if that's what you desire, well, there's lots of places out there to do it. I just personally, I'm kind of against doing that. I just don't like the lack of luxury on that. And now understand, my idea of luxury is having a roof over my head that doesn't leak, having my utilities all paid up to full, that sort of thing. So, That's what I'm aiming at. But that's what I call success. The books I'm writing, okay. Well, The Birth of the Wolf Pack, it now, and if you go to my Facebook page, Yldrbac, okay, Yldrbac. No, that's wrong. Yldrbac. If you go to that on Facebook, okay, if you look at the list down below, you can find me on Facebook, and it's tied right to it. But you'll find out more and more about the way the book is. Okay, it is a novel, science fiction, science fantasy, but go there and check it out. Okay, now, there is this funny little thing that I keep getting told by people, well, I really have this goal I'd like to do. I've got this dream that I would love to see happen, but I keep getting told it's too far-fetched. Two things. First of all, no such thing in my opinion. Okay, well, there's some, like if you're hoping that you can fly without wings or something like that, you might be pushing limits. Okay, but if you would like to write a story, if you would like to sing a song, if you desire to become a well-known poet, if you desire to become an actor, the dream is not too big. I had a client that desired to become an MD. When I met her, she was 52. She managed to get her full medical degree at 60. And like I told her, it's very doable. The reality is that you ain't going to be doing it long before you get to that retirement point, but you will make that goal. And think of the other side. If you're 52 going through the MD program, and you got a bunch of 16, 18, 20-year-olds going through the same program, think of the motivation. Think of the example you're setting, that you're pushing your way through it, and so are they. You'll feel, quite frankly, that you accomplished something, you accomplished your goal, but it feels really good being able to keep up with people that are younger than you. Now, there's a lot of times that that's not feasible, but education isn't one of them. Now, where it comes to the spiritual side of it, number one, never, ever, ever base religious belief on religious superstructure. Never follow down the road that says, fear my creator. Fear is that's how you live. You fear this, you fear that, you stay away from this. Well, staying away might be an idea. But if you're listening to somebody always telling you fear, okay, now the God I know, you don't fear. Of course, the God I know is not vengeful, he's not vindictive, he's not cruel, and he's not cold. Okay, when I ask for help, frankly, I don't ask. I actually thank God for help. And net result is I get what I'm aiming for. Now understand, the difference between asking, okay, as a matter of fact, I should probably do that, so I'm going to. Okay, it's just one of those things, it's not a question of it being self-deprecating. But I guess in a way it fits. See, when you're asking for something, if you're thinking in linear terms, okay, then what it does is it says, I don't have this right now, so would you please provide it? Now, the way the universe hears it, and the way that the energy picks up, is it picks up that you don't have it. Now, since the present is the only time you can get anything, if you don't have it now, you ain't going to have it down the road, and you never had it before. So when you go, can I please have such and such? What the universe hears is, can I please experience a lack of such and such? Okay, now, that will happen for you. You will get a lack of it. When you thank your God, your spirit guides, whatever, when you thank them for providing it, what ends up happening is they turn around and they give it to you. They open the door and there it is. I know this works for a fact, and for an absolute certainty for me, I am absolutely convinced of it, because of one little conversation I had. Okay, I made a request that I thanked I thank my God, my provider, if you will, however you want to put it. I thank the universe for providing somebody I would be happy waking up with. Okay. And said flat out, I get this, I'll do everything else I have to do. I don't get this, I'm done running my head into the wall. 3 days later, they came into my life. Okay, net result, I've been getting on track. I'm doing a lot more in the way of what I should have been doing. But it took a lot of convincing myself. And in all fairness, a lot of the people on Spaced Out Radio that were listening to me on the first Friday of every month really pushed the idea of my starting to put out videos. Okay, so net result is I'm here and I do my best to get one out every day. Doesn't always work that way. In case you hadn't noticed, it didn't come out yesterday for exactly that reason. I got sidetracked with other things. But then my life is a little on the hectic side, even from my standpoint. So when you get a goal in place, okay, very necessary to really deal with it. To really get things organized. And again, you see my pen is in my left hand. That's because I want to get this hand working again so we can write. Okay. It does take a lot more concentration at this point than what it used to, but it will come back into balance. Okay, that's just the way that my life is going to go. I decided I desire that to change for me. Okay, now I'm going to have to put the effort into it. I'm going to have to be the one doing the work. If you're guiding people, if you're claiming to be a spiritual guide, or for pity's sakes, and I see this way too often, when you're looking at consulting. Now, I've been consulting people, personal business and UFO alien interaction since I was 10. Okay. I started seeing the spirit world when I was born. The day I was born, I started seeing them. Now, I've got a lot of corroborated evidence for myself, and I'm not about to try and piece it together, trying to put it out there, but I will tell you this. Okay, from my standpoint, every day I wake up, because of the fact when I was 5 I walked out of the morgue. Yes, that did sound twisted. I was diagnosed dead, shipped off to the morgue. This was corroborated by my father. Okay, by my father, that it was a morgue, it was a true memory. Of course, he's passed on at this point. But having walked out of the morgue, I don't look at death the same way others do. Okay, I don't look at a lot of things the way others do. But what I do look at is the fact that people talk about living on borrowed time. Well, I'm pretty certain mine was just about taken. Well, when I passed away the first time, it's like, I'm done. I'm going home, and I was told I wasn't allowed to. Right? It's like, no, you got a job to do. And I looked at them and I went, I won't argue with that's what you expect, but the reality is, unless I get what I'm aiming for, I'm not doing what you'd like. Now, you'd think doing something like that would get me in trouble. If God were vengeful, if he were a vindictive individual, you can bet if I looked at him and said, I'm not doing what you want. Okay, you can bet I'd have had trouble. Now, the reality of it is, I talked about this issue of picking one meal out of the day. I just brought this up yesterday again. Pick one meal out of the day. Family, like whether it's breakfast, lunch, or supper, doesn't matter. Okay. Whichever one it is. Okay, pick one meal that the whole family can sit down at the table. Shut the phones off, shut the movies off. Sit down and have one meal. Now, in this case, because I woke up at a strange time, breakfast didn't work for me today. Yesterday, my son and I had breakfast together. As soon as I'm done this video, I'll be going out and dealing with lunch. And we'll grab that one. We'll grab that together because, frankly, supper is not going to be feasible because I'm going to be working at that point. Okay, now, one step at a time. Now, one of the things, what do I have here? Just looking at my list. Whole pile of odds and ends and a bunch of extra things that I want to get done. And yes, I am literally making a note for myself, even while I'm on video. Now, the funny thing there is, I tell people, okay, I've told people many times, this is a live recording, meaning I don't go back and edit anything. Okay, but because of the way my mind works, when an idea comes into my head that I've got to deal with this, that's what I do. Okay, so now that I'm doing that and getting things organized, it boils down to one step at a time and making it happen. Okay, I do strongly encourage people to do that. Okay, by doing that, by all of us eliminating the negative things in our life, altering them to things that we're content with, okay, we will find that this world, that famine, war, anger, greed can be eliminated, but the problem is, it's going to require all of us. Every single one of us is going to have to do our own part. Like I said, I cannot be successful for you. I can only be successful for me. Now, the reality is, when I didn't get the journey recorded yesterday, I felt like a part of my life was missing, like I hadn't done something really important for me. The fact I'm getting more and more reports back that it's helping you people makes it that much better. Okay, this is a case where I've decided this is what I'm doing so I can get my life moving in the direction I'm content with. And the fact that it's helping somebody else, okay, is a bonus. Okay, and I will continue to do this. I was doing a journal for the longest time, and then things got a little sideways. So, doing it by video is really convenient. Okay, it is working for me, and apparently it's working for you guys. But now I've got this neat little problem. Okay, and that is the fact that I've got all these other little projects that I'm now starting to get down to deal with. Okay. Now, one of the big things that we have to look at is what it is, the outcome that we're looking for. Now, when I was talking to my contact from Author House, okay, he asked what my long-term goals were. And like I told him, that's actually relatively easy. I've got a series of 12 novels tied together in a complete saga. I desire to get those finished. Okay. Now, they will be done as quickly as possible, and as I shouldn't say as quickly, as efficiently as possible. Okay. Birth of the Wolfpack have already got out. The End of an Epic will be out by the end of this year. We're about coming on a quarter of the way through the final proofing. Okay, and once the Birth of the Wolfpack starts making a little better money, then I will put out book 2, the End of an Epic. Now, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll find what's going on there. Okay, just exactly how that's evolving, because that's one of those things that my contact in Author House suggested I get on. Now, they're going to build me a website so that I can actually do this sort of thing, which is extremely important from my standpoint. Marketing has never been my strong suit. Can I tell you the tools to use to get your own life back in order? Absolutely. But I will tell you, if you're hoping to find out from me how to be a millionaire, you might want to wait about a decade. Okay, then I can tell you how I got there, but right now I'm not there. Okay, I pulled out of a nosedive. At the beginning of this year, I got my mom's estate came in. And I did take the first 3 months, priorities first, got rid of my debt load. Problem, I didn't change my mindset. Okay, that took me another 3 months. And right now, it's starting to shift around, which is a good thing. Okay, did I? I did. Okay, that's a good thing. But now that I'm getting the mindset pulled out, basically what I did was my finances were doing this. I've pulled out of the nosedive, and I'm now starting to climb. The next few months are critical to make sure that happens. Okay, they are going to be crucial to my making certain that I feel like I'm becoming the success that I desire to be. But I'm not kidding myself. I know, like I told in my contact, I would love everything to take place right away. But the reality is I'm looking at probably 3 to 5 years to make it happen. Which, when you think about it, I'm 58 now. It's not like I necessarily have a lot of time, although if my family is any indication, then it's really not that bad. Okay, I should have about another 20 years or so. Well, in that time, I will have the whole series out. Okay, I'm looking at getting them written as efficiently as possible. Which right now, given that the first book coming out was 400 pages, 12 volumes, 400 pages, we're looking at 4,800. I've got just about 1,300 written. So I'm almost a third of the way writing through the entire saga, with only one book actually in print. Now, the stuff that we see behind us, okay, next step that I'll be doing is moving some of like the blue bins, we talked about those a while ago. But I'm looking right now, and over here, you'll see a knife hanging on the wall. That's a Bowie knife. Okay, it's something I bought a long time ago because I could. Okay, but you'll see the binders beside it. I've got to take a look at those and see what's in them, because those I think have to be emptied. If they're old records and what have you, I will be getting rid of them. It's kind of like this stack of paper here. Right. This little stack of paper here has a whole pile of notes on it and what have you. Some of it's empty paper, but most of it is just notes. So I will be going through that piece at a time today. Same as this little book here. Now this book is my writing book. I'm still a dinosaur. I still do a lot of my creative writing by hand first. Then I transcribe it to disk, and then start expanding it. These are the tools that I personally use. And this is why I said, I can guide you in pretty much any industry, any social standpoint. I've been a professional psychic now for 86, so we're looking at 35 years. Okay. Professional being generating an income. I've been a spiritual guide for 48. Okay, where I've had people coming to me with social problems, with business-related problems, this sort of thing. And with that in mind, things have been extremely complicated, extremely hectic for me, and they've done nothing but get busier. Okay, but I do find the more organized I am, like today when I got up, okay, simple rule of thumb, and this book actually details it. Which one is it? Nope, not that one. This one. Believe in yourself and follow your dreams. That was one of the earlier ones I did. And what it details is a step-by-step process that I use and that I have guided a lot of people on to take their life and get it in order. Okay. Very, very necessary. Okay. There's a number of things that I've got to do, not the least of which is, it just dawned on me, I've got a manuscript completed, which, this little children's story here, that's Mr. Dreamcatcher. I've got the sequel to it already written. I just have to send it to print. So, I will deal with that. Okay. And that's another one of those little goals. And like I said, I take a list of goals, put them on a sheet of paper. Now, no, I don't expect anybody to read it because I'm not holding it close enough. But with that goal and that list, I can get things accomplished. And as I said, I always use tools. I always offer tools that I personally am using. if they apply to me, I'm putting them to use. If they don't apply to me, 48 years working in the consulting field, rest assured, with over 80,000 clients under my belt, okay, I've got a fair personal database up here, okay, of how people behave, how they can change things. Like the number of people I've shown how to quit smoking is remarkable. Fact of the matter is, I never started. Okay, but with that in mind, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, as there's a lot of information out there. One of the big things, there's a subset of videos I do called language. Look it up. It'll give you some of the words that I have found are self-deprecating. And I already had 9 listed. And come to think of it, asking is another one that can be self-limiting. Okay, and I will be doing that video sometime in the very near future to help people understand why asking can be self-deprecating. Okay, but until tomorrow, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.